right, we have a morning podcast today. Super excited. I've got tons of energy, so contain yourself. Try to contain yourself. Production builder, high production builder, mass production builder. Maronda Homes is in studio. We're talking real estate, real estate, real estate. Okay, so in studio today we have Matthew Wilson. We've met at the Builders Association, Metropolitan Pittsburgh. That's a mouthful.
It is, yeah.
Couple of events, and it was great talking to you. So what I want to do is bring you in studio. We have a lot of first-time buyers, a lot of buyers, a lot of second-time buyers, people relocating into all these different states, and we wanted to talk about production building, high production building, mass production building, just building a lot of houses quickly, not a custom builder that builds 2 houses a year, and that's where you come in. So what is your role? Give me a little bit of background on you with the company and the company itself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'm the division president for Pittsburgh at this time.
Presidente.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. But my former role up until February, I worked for our corporate office.
Okay.
We're a rather large builder, and by large, I mean one of the largest private company home builders in the country.
And you're huge in Pittsburgh. For those that are watching, maybe a first-time buyer that just got out of college or whatever, you guys are pretty big in Western Pennsylvania. I've been in real estate since 2007. You guys are well established before that.
Yeah, so we started in 1972. And
wow, that's when I was born.
Yeah, okay, all right. So you're 50 then.
I am 50.
This is our 50th anniversary.
Happy anniversary to Mom
and you. So what's cool about it was it's a family. Miranda, the name, is Mary, Ron, and Dan.
No kidding.
Yeah. So,
I didn't even think to ask you that. I never knew that. That is a burning question. Mary,
Ron, and Dan.
Ron and Dan.
And Ron is still our CEO and president.
No kidding.
So the company was founded by William Wolf.
Okay.
And then Ron took it over kind of like after the downturn and things like that. So he kind of helped us rebrand, open floor plans, who we are. Right. In Pittsburgh, we're a little bit different because we're everything. We can build a patio home, a townhome, single family, large, single family production luxury, and we're heavy on choice. So
and we talked a little bit before, and let's talk about heavy on choice for those people that don't know what that means. That's the differentiator between you and some of the other production builders. I'm just going to probably stay specific to Pittsburgh because I'm not so familiar with West Virginia, Ohio, and other states, but that kind of differentiates you from the competition, I would say.
Yeah, so when you think about production builders, you mainly, the word that comes out is cookie cutter, right? I mean, tract builders, cookie cutters. Right. So what changes us is we have floor plans that are 1,200 the whole way to 8,000 square feet.
8,000 square feet?
8,000 square feet, yeah. So that's our luxury presidential side of it.
Man, that's a mansion.
It's a big house.
Is that what you live in?
It's not.
You just said Presidente.
Well, it's still not what I live in. But it is a nice house, and we have a few models that you could look at if you want to look at.
I would actually like to come and check that out. So where, what part of, since I'm in Western Pennsylvania, what part of Pittsburgh would I find one of those?
So we have a model up in the north side in Mars,
okay.
So Adams Township, our Stone Ridge community. Okay. And then we have one down kind of near the airport, Imperial, our Twin Lakes community. So 2 Reagans. Every community we try to have a model in. It just depends who our buyer profile is there.
Right.
So.
I would imagine it depends on the area of Pittsburgh where the money would be to afford an $8,000 house.
But, you know, what's cool about us, the reason we're the choice builder, is normally that house we're speaking of, when you go to the master bath, you have 5 different options you can pick from. And by options, I mean different layout, different shower, different tubs. So
when we talk about layouts, they're pre-set up by a designer?
Yeah.
Shower head?
Correct. So they're all pre-set up.
Right.
But a normal cookie cutter is it's like, hey, you get 1, 2, here's your 2 color options.
Oh.
We have a selection center where you can go pick your flooring, your tile, hardwoods, all those things. And then we have different layouts depending on what your needs are. So if you want the big, expansive 20 by 20 foot bathroom with the rain heads and stuff,
yes,
we have those options.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, you know, we always say we're from beginning to end. We're a big builder in Florida too. So
when we're done with this point, tell me the state you're in.
So Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Florida, Georgia. How'd I do?
You're doing good. Did you get AL?
Alabama.
Okay.
I missed that one. Yeah. So
Alabama's one of the new ones, so
Alabama's
they got to earn their way into his brain.
Exactly. So, I was very familiar with Florida. I was traveling down there almost twice a month.
What
with
part
my
of Florida?
We're all over Florida. So
Miami?
we're not there. But Melbourne, Orlando, Tampa, North, Bradenton, all those areas, all the way down to Naples, Jacksonville.
Wow.
So we're really big there, getting into Pensacola, Alabama, and then, our start from Maronda Homes was Florida.
No kidding.
But the family was from Pittsburgh, so that's why our headquarters is in Pittsburgh.
Interesting. So then you guys, a little off subject, you guys aren't developers. So
Well, we are developers too. Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
Give me the umbrella. What all are you? What all services do you offer? You one-stop
Yes,
shop?
so it would depend in what region, but let's just talk about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
So we would be a one-stop shop. So we'll go out, we'll find the raw land, we'll take it through the government, which we call entitlements. It can take up to 3 years, and then we'll actually develop it. So then we develop it, then we sell the homes, and then we'll have a finished plan after that. We also own a mortgage company called RMC Mortgage. So
Is that
we
new?
are newer within the last year or so.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's fairly new. We partnered with our mortgage company, FBC Mortgage, so we're together on that. But we pretty much from beginning to end can do it. So
Title
insurance company, title company.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Home inspector?
So no. No, we don't have home inspectors.
And I wanted to go back to the development, because
Yeah.
I did a podcast and talked about development before. Development is, for lack of a better definition, is acquiring the land, grading the land, or manipulating it to home sites, including dropping utilities and
roadways, stormwater management.
That's a big deal that nobody ever really talks about and thinks about. The retention pond.
Well, you can't let any of your water leave your property. So
I was just going to ask you, what does all that mean? So explain that to me if you don't mind.
So if you drive through community, you'll notice retention ponds.
Yes, and that's just a big hole in the ground.
It's a big
for those
hole
that don't know.
that has concrete coming up, and you can see a grate. So that is kind of like an overflow. So you have to make sure if you have 100 acres, all that water has to flow somewhere.
And you're talking about downspouts and gutters.
Well, correct. So those will go into that system as well, but even any water running off. So the grading plan has to have the water staying on your property and going to those ponds and things like that.
How long has that been around? Decades?
Yeah.
I've seen retention ponds, and I got to be honest with you, no one's ever educated me on that. This is the first time in 15, 16 years of being in real estate I've ever had anybody tell me what that was. I kind of had a clue, but that's interesting, because I know in the old houses we do dye tests because there's no retention pond in Munhall or Brookline. And that whole idea is, for those that don't know, and a lot of people do not know, a lot of buyers do not know this, and that is that the stormwater from the gutters and downspouts, when it rains heavy, is so overwhelming. I think it may have gone into the sewer system back in the days. The sewer systems couldn't handle it, so then now they make us do dye tests where the plumbers have to come out, put some water and dye in, and they have to find out where these gutters and downspouts.
And they do a leach test. They see where it goes.
That's out the cut a little bit, not in the city.
Yeah, well, I mean, places as close as Plum make you do it.
Oh, wow.
So when you sell a house in Plum or resale, you have to do a dye test.
Is that with public sewer, or is that with?
Well, they're making sure it's not tapped into public sewer, so it's just a way to make you pay a little bit more money to sell your house.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So the retention pond. Oh, that is very cool.
So and then
it's never filled though, right?
Well, there's different types of retention ponds. So there's ones that will hold water. There's ones that will leach out the bottom.
Oh, okay.
It just depends on what the grading plan has and what's approved by the municipalities.
I'm going to touch on development a little bit further because it always fascinates me. Is that the first thing when you buy the land? It's just hills and all this stuff. Is that one of the first things that goes in?
Yeah. So you have to retain your water. So it is one of the
That's
first
from day
things
one
that go
even.
in.
That's not
Correct.
even like once the houses are built. They mean once you buy the land and start moving stuff, you got to have a place for that water.
Yeah, and we can have you out on a development site if you want to come out and see that one day too.
I would. Maybe we'll do a little series or something.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of education.
That's actually probably the most complicated side of it.
Oh yeah.
Just in government, for better or worse,
right?
When they get involved, there's good reasons they're involved, but it makes a lot of the steps complicated.
Right, and before that was the Wild Wild West, and with every rule that is in place or document or addendum was put in because
there was a reason.
There was a reason why. We may all hate it. I know people hate HOAs, but man, you certainly like not having a pink shingled roof next to you, right?
Yeah.
All right, so when when I first started in real estate, it's known that Miranda would give you a lot of house for your buck, so to speak. So it kind of got a bad rap amongst realtors, and I'm not sure about buyers. I didn't poll any buyers officially, but that the quality wasn't the best. And that's the last 15 years. So has that, I've been in a couple of Mirandas since then, but since the market's taken off so much, you guys seem to be doing so well in selling your own houses. It seems like I can't even get a buyer for you guys, but that's going to change, I think.
Yeah.
So talk about the trends shift, the open floor plans, technology you offer, and how we went from not such a great quality to a much better one.
Yeah. So this predates my time.
Okay.
Very
disclosure.
much so, yeah. But our motto or our value or whatever our statement was back in the day was an easily observable better value.
What is it now?
Well,
working on it.
We have it. It's more of we want to be a family builder, home builder, community builder.
I love that.
So that's
what you are.
We're people. Everything we have to do with has to do with people. But in the past, when you bought a Maronda home, you bought it for square footage. And 100%,
back that up.
I will tell you there's no person that bought their house and didn't sell it for more money. So you were buying it for square footage.
Yeah.
So we built the homes to code. It was, if you want to say cookie cutter, it was closer to a cookie cutter. We build the walls. You can make it what you want after you move in. And
I've sold, shout out to Gina DeRose, who I know has moved on, but she was my Maronda rep my go-to reps in the very early days, and I've sold a bunch of Marondas in the early days, and we looked at your competition as well, and it was always the struggle that was existing, and that was, do you take smaller with more quality finishes that you may not like, or do you take larger square footage and then you can make it what you want over the years? And I've resold a whole bunch that some people have really made it nice inside, over the years. So I'm just backing up basically what you were saying on that.
Yeah, and the new shift is not so much as a shift with us, although we did shift, but the market has shifted too.
Yes.
So I hate to say it, buyers expect more, demand more, and we'll pay more.
Even in the seller's market where we're kind of coming out of, they were demanding. Usually the seller holds the upper hand.
Well, we had the upper hand in that sense, but if we didn't have the finishes that we switched over to, we wouldn't have been getting those buyers.
Right.
So it's kind of funny. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in college, but college dorms when I went were night and day from what they are today. They're suites and stuff now. So you go into them, they got kitchens and stuff. So everybody wants to come out of college making $100,000 and have granite countertops and things like that.
Right. But that's because, listen, that's your fault. That's because their parents lived in Mirandas with all that stuff, so now they expect it.
Yeah, that's true. But the bigger thing is now you have to give it to them. And with how low interest rates were, I'll be honest, interest rates aren't that high right now in reality.
Grand scheme of things.
To people buying right now, they're high.
They've never seen.
I've never seen anything over 3% in my life.
Over 3%?
Over 3%.
So when I first started, 7%. And when I first started, the other agents above me, oh my God, it was 13%. So the newbies, you guys, young kids are like 6.5%. 7%. Oh my God, I can't afford anything. But meanwhile, I would think that's kind of the average interest rate over maybe a 30-year span. It used to be 13%. I never saw that, and it was under 3%, which is not sustainable. We're not going to get into a big financial conversation.
I agree with you on all that.
Banks can never sustain giving out 2% interest. So yeah.
So I think that's a huge shift though, because now interest rates going from 3 to 6% can add $300, $400, $500 to these dream houses that kids want. So that's why it's nice for us to have a little bit of everything. So we got our townhomes.
Yes, you do.
Then we have our, I wouldn't call them starter homes, because you can get a 4,000 square foot house and load it out and be at $800,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's with anything. If you custom order a car, you can get the base model and just, stick carbon fiber on it. Well, let's talk. I don't want to drill down too much on finishes and stuff, but what is the least expensive house? So in square footage, maybe.
We have a townhome right now. It's our St. Martin.
Okay.
It's $299,000. So that $990.
It's perfect for first-time home buyer. Townhouses are so popular with first-time home buyers, and they always ask me, "Can I sell it?" There is nothing easier to sell in this world, resale, than a townhouse, because there's always youth coming up.
Right.
Can't afford that big 8,000 square foot house.
Well, and a lot of our communities, we don't dictate in the HOA if you can rent them out.
Oh, right.
So you can, there's
True.
a lot of people that buy them for investments and then rent them out. And the one thing everybody has to keep in mind, what the house cost is what the house costs to build.
Right.
It's where we build it though.
Right.
So if I'm building in Franklin Park or Pine Township, it costs more money to build there.
Ah,
So
I thought you just raised those numbers up because you could.
No. So if I'm buying raw land, it costs more money
Because it's
in
a desirable
Hampton.
area.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time. I mean, the costs just get rolled on to the buyer, but the buyer enjoys the end result. So
Correct.
It's all relative. You may make $100,000 a house in South Park, Monroeville, or Cranberry by selling $1 million houses. I'm just throwing raw numbers out.
Yeah.
It's all relative because you're paying more. People might think you're paying the same for all the land and build costs and labor anywhere in your areas, but it varies. So
And
the
if
price
they can find that,
let us know.
Let me know.
Let us know.
So,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
So the least expensive house or townhouse product you
right
offer.
under 300.
And what's the most expensive?
We just sold a house for 1.2.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
I love that.
Yeah, and that's a big 8,000 square foot.
I hope so. God,
So it's
I want to see that. I'll be in touch after. Stay tuned for a follow-up video because we'll talk about some sort of mini series or something with Miranda where I go out and look at the different stages of it. But I definitely want to show you guys what a first-time home buyer townhouse looks like and what the most expensive looks like. So we'll talk about that. Let's talk about technology. I know you want to touch on that. I personally haven't seen any of the technology and how do you feel it's received? Because it's a little scary for older folk, and I'm 50, and there's some technology I look at, I'm like, oh, God, I'd rather just...
Yeah, so I had the blessing of coming into the company pretty young, and my whole thing was technology.
How old are you now?
So I'm 34.
Oh, man, so you came in 11 years ago?
I did.
23?
Yeah. I got lucky. The owner of our company thinks technology is the way we go with everything, so he let me run with it. Ron Wolf is the owner of our company.
No, who does the technology?
We do it all in-house.
You do it all in-house,
We have
okay.
a whole programming team and things like that. So
Wow, you guys have really grown.
yeah, and it was nice.
So technology in the home you're not offering.
Oh, we offer that too, but it's kind of, what we found out was when we added it as a package, people wanted their own.
Yeah.
When you tie it to an alarm.com or a Guardian,
right.
any of those.
Too many options out there, ring.com.
They're like, I want to do it myself.
Right.
I want to do Ring. I want to put them up. They're battery operated.
Yeah.
So
cheap too.
Yeah. Now what we do offer Lutron lighting. So our houses
that's great.
have Lutron, the presidentials.
Dimmer switches and
all hooking up, things like that.
Yep.
But technology, we pretty much let you do your.
I think that's a good thing. I've had some flippers and custom new construction. They try to put that stuff in, and I'm like, man, it's just throwing money away. Like some people may not even use it.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've tried it. I mean, it works really well in Florida. A lot of our Florida people will rent their houses out and things like that, so they want those keys.
Right.
And it's a good package.
Yeah.
But up here, everybody kind of wants to do their own thing.
Okay.
And,
we're kind of a techie city, too, though. CMU and all that stuff.
Google, Facebook's here, Uber. I mean, this is it. So.
Right. Huh. Okay, well, let's talk about the subject that it's on everybody's mind. And how are you seeing the market July of 2022?
Yeah, so July of 2022 is pretty good. If you ask me about the last 2 months.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely slowing down a little bit.
Of course.
Interest rates. Here's what's really crazy about it. We can start building houses a lot better now.
So how long does it take to build just an average size house? And then, townhouses, patio homes, 8,000 square foot houses.
Yeah, so, one misconception is a townhome smaller, so you think it'd be quicker.
Right.
But you're building 5 in a row. So that's 5 plumbing systems, 5 electrical systems, 5 HVAC systems. So that can take
systems?
5 sprinkler systems too. Yeah, which is interesting to do that, and all the party walls, which I know your viewers won't know, but that's what's in between. So if a house
separates them.
If one unit catches on fire, it has a certain burn rate, so your house won't.
Is there airspace between townhomes, or it's all connected, but they're connected by fireproof materials?
It's connected with a firewall.
Right.
Yeah. So a townhome, it will take us, let's say, 250 days to build. So you're talking 10 to 11 months.
And how many townhomes are in a bank or whatever you call it?
It would depend on the development.
Oh, okay. What's the lease you've ever done? 2?
We're doing 2 right now.
Yeah, they're like the row houses almost.
Yeah,
these, right?
it's an interesting look when you have 2, 3 stories next
People
to each other.
think it's a duplex all the time.
Yeah, it looks interesting, but normally we'll go 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
So
and just for the viewers, they have to all be done, finished, correct? Or am I incorrect?
If you think about production building, we go with a flow.
Yep.
So we build the foundation.
Right.
We then put the walls up. We build all the rough mechanicals. So they're always in a row. So they're going boom, 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 boom. So
and you have multiple plumbers all at the same time on all 5, or maybe the same plumbing company, but or do they do one, move to the second?
Usually they do one and move to the next one,
Okay.
just to keep the flow going. Just because we're building so many homes too.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's always known for not having a lot of vendors, and that's kind of when you have a big company like our competitors out there,
right.
you know, that are doing 1,000 homes a year.
Right.
They get the vendors. So
No kidding.
Vendors follow where the money is.
So if you're looking for a career path, if you're in high school,
Yes.
become a trade of any.
Huge trade. Carpenter, electrician, HVAC. I mean, the amount of money these guys are making.
I know.
If I was mad in high school again, I would have been, wow.
Right, and get your education on as many of those as possible. Become those. Work under somebody else, and then eventually you just get your own business, and you work for these guys, and you make good money, and then you make great money.
Yep, and you grow your business, then you hand it down in your family and keep growing the business.
So that was Matt and I's guidance counselor moment.
Yeah, absolutely. We need more trades. I mean,
That's crazy.
It's just incredible. You go to other markets, there's tons of trades. You come here, there's just not. And you know what was Votech schools teach all that stuff. You could do that in high school and come out and make $40, $50 an hour.
That's nuts.
That's incredible.
And so when I first started working, I was making $5.50 an hour.
Yeah. Well, I was a waiter. I made $2.85, and I hoped I had good tips. So, but you learn a lot from that.
Listen, there is never, and nothing is wasted.
Right.
Whether it's good or bad that has happened to you, you learn from it. And as we get older, we can tell you that's exactly.
Yeah.
If you sit in a box and don't learn anything, then that's a different story. But if you get out there and try.
I used to be the young guy at Miranda. You know, the young guy always trying to
Isn't
move.
that crazy?
And I'm not anymore.
No, you're not. I know.
And I'm still relatively young.
Yes, you are.
But I'm not the young guy.
You got these
anymore,
whippersnappers.
So I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay.
I didn't
Was
even
that
shave
me?
yet.
Was that me? And the truth is that it was us.
That was
you
you.
know, we
Yeah.
wanted to take over the world, and we thought we could do it in a day.
Yeah.
And then you start learning. You're like, hey, you need other people to help.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
you need to team up with them, and that's my other guidance counselor. Once you learn that you can't do everything on your own, that's when you start excelling.
Delegating.
Oh yeah, and letting them flourish and do things that you're like, that can't be done, and then they do it.
That's why. So I'm virtual assistant. And I've had team members, and there's nothing better than not knowing how to do something that completely trumps me or trumps you, and you're like. You're thinking about it, it's bugging you overnight. You're like, oh, I got to figure that out. And then somebody else comes in and is like, bloop, bloop. And you're like, I should delegate. So I've just started recently delegating to a virtual assistant some of my stuff too. And it's amazing whenever somebody can pick up something you didn't know how to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So when can somebody move in? Can you finish one, get a certificate of occupancy?
We can, yeah. So that's happening right now.
Oh, cool.
We're building a 14, so 7 and 7.
Wow.
And we have somebody moving in at the end of this month. And the other 13 won't be done till next month. Wow. But you can get a certificate of occupancy, which basically says, hey, the inspectors came in, the home's ready to move into, safety, and they can move in. You know, I wish townhomes would sell better when they're to-be-builts, so before we even break ground. But it's a drywall buyer, you know. A lot of times it's somebody coming from apartments, they want to see the space and fill the space. The only downside to that is you don't get to pick your finishes. So if you come at to be built, you can come in and pick your granite, your flooring. Once we start breaking ground, we're pretty much set. And that was a big change just because of the pandemic and how supply chain. We have to order stuff so far in advance.
So that's what I was just going to ask you. So like, you mean like the stuff that you can do at the very last moment, like granite and paint color, they can't pick?
They can't pick right now.
Or do you have a cut?
Yeah, granite maybe if we're feeling like we can work it all out, but siding color, appliances, window, things like that, flooring for sure. Flooring is a pain to get right now.
I was going to ask you, I mean, we're not going to drill down too much on, I don't want to make this a sales presentation, but what type of materials can somebody expect to choose from? You have everything?
Yeah, so we use big partner names. So Shaw Carpets.
No, I mean,
is our brand.
like LVP,
Oh,
carpet,
everything.
So you real hardwood,
carpet,
tile.
real hardwood, which is engineered now, but that is as real as it gets.
But that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people I've noticed don't want or aren't even selecting real hardwood. I'm talking like real hardwood.
Yeah, we don't have real hardwood.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not because you're young, but I mean, back in the day, it was either carpet or real hardwood. And you have tile in the wet area, but like real hardwood was like, oh my God. And nowadays it's all engineered hardwood flooring, which I have as well.
Engineered. Yeah,
that's
what's
better.
in my house.
Yep.
And I mean, the one good thing with that is you don't have to worry about the moisture as much as you do
Yep.
with. No, you have to worry about it. You
Right.
should have a dehumidifier and a humidifier, but
In Pittsburgh.
definitely in Pittsburgh. But real wood is very temperamental. But when you do it right, like those old houses,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just one the other day, and it was like over 100 years old, and they even had the nails, 2 in each board, in a row,
perfectly placed.
But it was awesome, and we always try hiding the nails nowadays. But
Yeah.
I was like, the kid even said, the buyer even said, "Wow, that is really cool." I was like, that's the only way they knew how to do it back then, man.
Yeah.
Perfectly spaced by hand.
Yeah. So a large house will take longer. It's
Of course.
just nature. But we could, from contract, get you in 7 to 9 months between building the house, you sign, and then if it's a large house, maybe 9 months. But our goal was always you would sign it, we'd go through the permitting process. You can't really speed up bureaucracy that much.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with you.
So 30 days there, start building the house, break ground. Our goal was always 4 months. But with supply chains and vendors, the pandemic really changed a lot of things. We started panning out to 6 to 8 to 9. So we're getting back into building houses again. We just closed one in 5 months. So
Wow.
We're happy about that. We want that to keep getting better.
I bring it to Miranda, or I register them, or they come, etc. They can do it online, or they can still make appointments in the sales galleries to touch, feel, and smell.
So we will do multiple things. We have models in almost every location.
Right.
So whether it's a home they're looking for in an area, you've been doing this a while. The first thing everybody looks for is the area.
Right.
But we may not have that model built there. So what we like to do is get them out to the area first.
Sure.
Make sure they love that.
Right.
Find the lot they love, and then we'll get them into different homes to look at it and see what they need. We do virtual appointments as well if you feel like more so being at home and going through that process.
So a virtual appointment can be a sales rep or somebody virtually taking them to the lot?
So it would be our sales rep. So we'll do a 2-part. The first one would kind of be you and I sitting here, a Zoom call, going through it, seeing all your wants and needs, and then they'll actually set another one up and walk you to the lot, through the lot, and go through it. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Necessity breeds all creation.
Right.
So
I mean, the sales rep would be doing that anyway, whether they're holding a phone or whether there's a body next to them. They're doing this.
And then we go out and we'll measure. We'll tell you the house, the lot fit. One misconception: if you look at plat maps, these lots could look humongous.
Right.
But if you don't know what the topo is, so
what's topo mean?
Yeah, so that's the topography of the land, and you could have a house that ends here, but the hill goes right here. But on the plat map,
It looks flat.
It looks humongous.
Right.
So we'll go out. We'll tell them how big their backyard's going to be. We try to go through any easements, and easements just means that's items that we can go in after, or the local government or water authority can go in. They might have piping, things like that, so you can't build on that.
Right.
So that's a big thing. People, hey, there's an easement in your backyard. Guess what you can't put in? A pool then.
Oh, right.
So
Anything
those
or
are
you can put it in, but then you have to take it out if they need to get in.
It's going to get interesting. Yeah, and that happens a lot, actually. I hate to say it, but so that's the process. Then we go through all the options with you. Like I said, we are an option-heavy house because we want to give you that choice.
Right.
So when you walk in, this room could be a flex. It could be an office. You could have barn doors on it. You could have glass doors on it. You could have wainscoting. Yeah. Think about that. That's one room. You could change your windows from being on the gable end to the front side.
What's a gable end?
So the gable end is the side of the house.
Oh.
So if you look at it, it looks like that.
Oh, right.
So that's the gable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Left or right side.
Yeah. So if you're looking directly front, it'd be left or right side. And normally, if it's gable, it comes straight down.
Right. Yes.
So, but we also build hip roofs. So hip roofs are the 4 sides. So.
All right. And you have bump outs too, right? Still
we
on
do.
the gable
Yeah.
side? Don't like those.
We've gotten away from them a little bit just because we're such a big square footage house already. Adding 2 foot here and 2 foot there.
Yeah.
You know, somebody would rather have a 2-story living room.
I got it.
And things like that. So as you walk through that option process, you go through the whole house. You know, we're always giving great incentives away. Our idea is always, we're a big machine and we want to keep building houses. So, and we want people to be happy. So that's why we do all those options and choices. They go through all that process, building the options out. We then simply send them a DocuSign. They sign it. We get their deposit.
I was just going to say, you're skipping a process.
Well, we let them sign it, then we get their deposit.
Is it a certain percentage of the house?
It will depend on how much the dollar amount of the house is.
Oh, right.
So
it's not
it
a
is
flat
a sliding scale.
Okay, right.
Correct.
So there's no sense talking about numbers on this podcast because it'll change over the years and months.
Yeah, and it
it's a
depending on
percentage
what
of the
things
house.
go on, depending on communities, it's always a sliding scale.
Right.
But you know, we get 2 of them. You know, one up front and then one when you go to your selection appointment. So we have a selection center that you go in and you do your touch and fill. So we'll put the cabinet up with the countertop.
Oh, nice.
You can see what that looks like. You get to see all the flooring, paint, trim, all those items.
It's exciting.
And that's when people get excited. Those can take 2-3 hours. You know, it's a big purchase. You know,
I'm sure there's a lot of spouses fighting
I'll
site.
tell you, the best story I ever have is when we built our house. I went down to the carpet place and I was like, I'm not spending that much on carpet. And then I took my shoes off and walked on the carpet and I go, I'm spending that much on carpet. And that's the crazy part about it. When you don't think about buying that highest level carpet and then you buy it and you're like, wow. Now
you get what you
I'm
pay for.
so glad I did.
Right.
You know? So that's why we're the choice builder, because we have so many choices. With comes that, I mean, what I always like to tell people is these are built by hands, though. So when you move into your house, you'll have your house is going to settle. Things are going to happen. You know, we work through the process of getting our service department in there. We come and we'll call you 5 days after you close on your house to make sure everything's good.
What is the process? We call it a blue tape inspection. So do we do a walkthrough before closing?
Yeah, so we do what's called a PSO. So a pre-settlement orientation.
And that's just you guys amongst yourselves?
It would be, so we do a management walk.
I would imagine you do your own blue tape.
We do our own blue tape. We do that before the buyers come in. Then we do
smart.
a PSO, which is a pre-settlement orientation. That's 2 things. We walk through the house, look at the quality, see if there's anything outstanding. And when I say outstanding, times are strange now. We want to move people in, but we may be missing a cabinet door. We may be missing appliances. But, you know, we want to be completely transparent. Hey, when we get it, we're going to put it on for you. Right. It's just, do you want to close or do you not? So we're completely transparent with that. Then they might have a little blue tape, as you called it. They go through, hey, I see a little nick here. I see this. We touch it up, and then they close on their house. 5 days after that, we have a service employee call and go, hey, just want to see how everything's going.
Cool.
Once again, want to go over your thermostat. Want to go over just, hey, a GFI fault.
Right.
That's not really a service call. We just want to teach you how to do it. Go in and hit the reset. So, you know, it's not good for us to send somebody out to your house to hit the reset button on a GFI.
Right.
So,
which I'm sure you've done.
Yeah, it happens more times. That's why we do this now. So then through the process, you know, we have a partner, Bonded Builders, 210 warranty. So 1 year, I like to call it bumper to bumper. We cover it all. Then 2 year, we get into the mechanicals, HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, and then we have a 10-year structural warranty.
Wow.
So we cover it. I like to call the bumper to bumper. You get everything, and then we cover it throughout. So we want to stand behind it. Yep. One thing, you know, we're having a big push on service with the pandemic, with how getting items. You know, my biggest focus is on quality and happy people. So
because they come back.
Well, and they're the best referral.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
They're the best referral. Yeah. So I call them new home champions, because if they love their experience, then guess what? They're going to tell 3 of their friends about their experience. So that's our big focus right now, getting into all these houses that, you know, we closed them. And I'm not saying they're wrong in any way, but we closed them during a pandemic when it was hard to get items. So we have a big focus on that right now, and we want to be the quality production builder.
Right.
We want people to know it's choice, and we care about people. So that's kind of my mentality. I'm big on people and culture. So, and I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm the proudest person you've ever seen from Miranda. I live in Miranda.
I love it. Where do you live at?
I live in Sarver.
Sarver?
Yeah.
It's pretty up there.
Yeah, we like country out there. So.
One thing I do want to touch on again for the first, back on the process, the deposit. Just go worst case scenario, buyer. You don't require them to be pre-approved.
We do require you. So what we do is we always want to know if we're going to, what's really different is people don't understand when you buy a house from us, we ask you to put down a small deposit.
Non-refundable.
It could be refundable. Right. It depends on the situations. Right. In most cases, it will be non-refundable. Yeah. But there are situations, a military person that's not using a VA loan.
Can you use VA loans on Maronda?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, everything. Conventional, arms, whatever you want to use, we can use. But the big thing there is you don't have to do a construction loan.
Oh, right.
So people always think, well, if I build a new home, I got to do a construction loan. No, we're actually footing the bill. Yeah. For everything. So that deposit is just saying, hey, it's kind of like a good faith.
100%.
So, you buy an $800,000 house, I'm going to ask you to give me $80,000.
Right.
But that $80,000, of course, is hand money. It's going to go to your home.
Right.
But we have a lot on the line. That house is costing us a lot of money to build.
And they're picking their finishes, so you're kind of, even though their choices are going to be something that is sellable, it's still their combination or whatever. Yeah, you're stuck with it. They walk away.
And I've seen some interesting houses. I'll tell you that. So
have you had people try to get finishes outside of what you offer?
All the time.
And pay cash and do it?
Yeah, we don't do it though.
Don't let it, because it's a liability issue.
Yeah, well, we build the house with the standards and the products that we know.
Which is what the public wants, because
exactly.
Yeah, right.
So when somebody comes in and goes, hey, I'd like to do travertine in a room, which has happened numerous times, it's just, we can't do it, you know.
Pittsburgh's not a market for that.
Yeah.
Because it gets set on crack, and then they're calling you back and suing and everything else.
Well, and it all becomes warranty and things like that. Right. So, we have to think the long term.
I like that.
We have to understand, hey, if we don't know how it's going to react, we don't want to put it in your house.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to think for the buyer.
Yeah.
They don't know their best.
Which, unfortunately, they don't always agree with.
They very rarely agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. All right, so running out of time, let's talk about near and dear to your heart is going to be your foundation that you guys are involved with. Let's wrap up with that.
Yeah, so Maronda Homes was based on one idea, providing for the Maronda Foundation. So the Maronda Foundation is a Pittsburgh-based foundation, heavily involved in the Catholic Church, girls' clubs, boys' clubs, things like that. Wow. Gives back. A lot of the proceeds in the owner's mindset all go to the foundation.
Interesting.
So we have a couple places. We have Youth Town out in Imperial, PA. We have Gilmary. All these places. Gilmary is a place to ride horses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of cool things, and we do not talk about it. Because
I was gonna say I've never even actually heard this.
Well, and you'll probably hear me talk very little about it because the best giving is people not knowing that we're
understood. Giving. Yeah, I hear that all the time.
So that's the one thing. If you look at the Miranda Foundation, it's done a lot of good. That's what our homes power. They're the selling those homes. Not only does it give a lot of boost to the economy,
100%.
It also helps. So that's I wish I could go into a lot more detail.
That's all right.
But we like to be, our owners are really into the giving charitable. You just won't hear us out there saying it everywhere.
So you just need to know that when you buy Maronda home, it's not just going into profit. They are giving back, and you're not going to hear about it, and that is definitely the best way of doing it.
There's only one thing I'll say. So in Florida, we gave a house away for the Sheriff's Foundation.
Wow.
So all proceeds it was $250,000 that went to the Seminole County Sheriff's Foundation.
Just gave away $250,000.
Wow. So that's the one thing we have publicized that because the sheriffs wanted to publicize it and stuff.
Of course,
So we still hold that house as a model. It has a beautiful plaque on it, but that's just one we publicized. There's hundreds and thousands of other ones we don't tell anybody.
Wow. I can use a new home.
Yeah, me too.
Matt, thank you. It was very informational. I love it. Everybody stay tuned to the podcast because I'm going to be doing some more stuff with Matt. We just actually, first time this has ever came up, so we're going to think creatively over the next couple of weeks how that would look and educating you guys on the Miranda product process, and just kind of, I feel you get business by giving education. So we just skimmed a little bit here on like the development and all that, but I would like to maybe do some sort of series that the buyer could watch and help educate them. But Measure Twice, Cut Once. Thanks for watching, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.